Government has raised the gas prices to $6.1 per MMBTU. But I am not getting this because as we speak, the gas prices are near about 5.6 per MMBTU. But the government has raised to 6.1 per MMBTU. Anyways, this would surely hit the inflation, but at the same point of time, it would hit the profitability of gas distributors and the gas producers like Reliance, ONGC, and others. They would get a substantial benefit out of that. 6.1. According to the public information, foreign institutional investors in India sold 5.4 billion 5.4 billion US dollars worth of stake in the last 15 days of March. By the way, I do not have the information that how much they sold in 2022. But one thing I'm sure, they have sold heavily in the first quarter of 2022. Now, this raises a big question, at least, which is if foreign institutional investors are selling, then how long DIIs? Russia is very, very clear on one side, which is they would be selling the gas in rubles. They won't be selling in dollars. Now, this is very clear that Russia wanted to end the monopoly of dollar in oil and gas. In oil, he cannot do it alone until otherwise the OPEC is with Russia. But in gas, Russia can do it alone. And guys, if this would happen, assuming, this would trigger a wave of dollar selling across. Practically speaking, the foreign brokerages would definitely hype the Axis Bank takeover of Citi India assets. Because I have made many videos on how these foreign brokerages work. And I have seen that the foreign brokerages have started giving the target of 1100 and something like this on the Axis Bank. The hype has already started, but I am telling you right now that Axis would regret on Citibank deal. India is having a history that majority of the M&A deals done went in a negative direction. Just wait and watch. According to the information, Russia is willing to offer India oil at $35 discount, which precisely means that they are offering India oil at a pre-war price. Because before the war, oil was near about 75 to 76. And now, as we speak, it is near about 108 with the high of 130. Now, if Russia is willing to offer at $35 discount per barrel, now India need to take up a call. But having said that, the US and European Union put sanctioned on Russia. And if India would be buying this oil, then they need to consider the foreign policy. US President Joe Biden done yet another mistake. By the way, when you look at him, you will see that he is a person who repeat mistakes and mistakes. The latest mistakes is US president is saying that United States would be releasing 180 million barrel 180 million barrel of oil from the strategic reserves. By the way, as we speak, oil is near about 108. So for a while, I assume 180 million barrels would release from the US oil reserve. This would ease oil a bit, maximum $2 or $5. India is having a history whereby banks always target merger and acquisitions route to get the growth. But the end result is none of the Indian banks are in the top 100 banks of the globe. And they would never be. Because history is witness. Whenever you target merger and acquisitions to grow yourself, you would never be in the top league. And now this mistake is repeated by the Axis Bank. Citibank, who once used to claim Citi never sleeps, now Citi has slept. Standard and Poor, Nasdaq, and Dow all closed in losses as of first quarter 2022. This is just the beginning because 2022 onwards, you will see a great volatility in the market. Now, the investment bankers, those who hold a huge amount of block trades or having equity swap positions, they must be in huge losses. I'm again repeating, if you're expecting quarter second, third, or fourth would be conducive, then please wait. You get your answer soon. According to the information, global oil consumption per day stands near about 100 million barrels. So, if for a while you accept the fact that United States is releasing 180 million barrels of oil from strategic reserve, then common sense prevails how long these strategic reserves hold. By the way, according to me, this is yet another foolish step by Joe Biden. Because releasing 180 million at that point of time when the war is not yet over and could take a serious turn is another example of foolishness by future retail. who is already into so many negative news. Now, in another negative news, which is the CEO of Future Retail resigns. Now, the media is claiming that due to the legal tussle between Amazon and Reliance, the debt issues, he resigned. But CEO is always considered as an important position in any organization. And the resign of Future Retail CEO, you know what I mean. But please be rest assured, it will never get discussed on our media channel. Saudi Arabia is now planning to sell oil to China in Chinese yuan, which means that Saudi Arabia is not interested in selling oil to China in US dollar or euro. And the interesting fact is Saudi Arabia willing to sign a 6-year contract. 6-year contract. I'm warning people since the last 2 years that USD dominance, US dollar, is very, very limited now. Probably another 2 to 3. We are done with our video covering block trades, that how exactly block trades work on our Facebook. This video would be live on our YouTube channel after editing, probably in a 2 weeks of time. But in this video, I said, and I'm also repeating here, that accounting and investment banking are the two major fraudulent practices in the world. And in investment banking, it's all about money, ethics, principles, regulations, standards, practices go to hell. And block trade is one of them. The volatility in the foreign exchange market is beyond any level. Japanese yen, which touched around 124, then came down to 121.5, and then came to 122, now again back to 123. These kind of movements always give fake signals to the investors. Reason being, investors do not have the sufficient knowledge to read these movements. And more importantly, they do not have the patience. End result, they always lose. Detailed video is coming on our YouTube channel. And in this video, we would be covering extremely detailed how dangerous it is. But 7 international banks, you heard me very right, 7 international banks quitted India in the last 2 decades. Around 4 are top league banks. Do you know that how much product service, how much innovation and everything foreign banks brings in the system? We do not. And this is the reason we hardly bother whether they quit or not. Russia is planning to offer a deep discount to India in terms of oil purchase. According to the information in the public domain, and I have taken a print of that to make a detailed video, Russia is willing to give even $45 per barrel discount provided India will pay in rubles, not in US dollars. And you know what finance minister has said today. Keeping this in mind, there is a big diplomacy started in Asia, which is whether to buy discounted oil or JP Morgan Chase, who himself done tremendous frauds not only in United States but in different countries, now dropped Apple as a most preferred stock list. Apple is a company who is doing roughly 250 billion worth of annual sales. And JP Morgan dropped Apple from the list. Can anyone ask from JP Morgan about their own credentials? Example, the frauds which they done and they fined by the regulator. Go to hell, JP Morgan and the so-called analysis. Russia is trying to sell the gas in Russian rubles, which according to me is a very strategic step because Russia is number two natural gas reserves of the globe. And having said that, if Russia would make natural gas payment in rubles rather than US dollar, then this would end the dollar supremacy in the world. And I'm 200% sure that Russia is planning for the same. Very soon, we will see that if European nations wanted to buy Russian gas, they need to pay in rubles. Our video on Future Group is already live. And now there is a news coming, which is Future Retail and Future Enterprises together defaulted on the loan payment to bondholders to the tune of 8,200 crores approximately. And I am warning investors since 2 years that Future Group default. But have you seen any media channel in India, any paid anchor in India who discussed the default of Future Group 8,200 crores? Gold is 1924 versus the high of 2070. If you are thinking that this is the end of the gold, then you need to reconsider your judgment because 2022 onwards would be the most volatile year for the gold. And please also consider that there are many more hot topics on the way who have the potential to make gold the most volatile asset class. So wait and watch. As we speak, the yield curve of United States is now invert, which means that the short-term interest rate are higher than the long-term interest rate. And I've been warning this last 1 year, but now officially speaking, the yield curve inverts. Einstein, Edison's, and Newton's in the public domain are claiming that the Federal Reserve would be hiking by at least 50 bips in May meeting. And I am very happy because if Federal Reserve would be hiking by 50 bips, then US is, as we speak, European Central Bank is in a big dilemma. Because if European Central Bank would be hiking the rate following the United States Federal Reserve, then they know the consequences. Because European economy is not stronger. In fact, US is also not stronger. But paid, sold, and corrupt international media has started comparing Federal Reserve with European Central Bank and pushing a pressure on ECB that they should hike the rate by 2022 last quarter. Highly interesting time on the. Currently, the situation is like that. The foreign banks are quitting India. And unfortunately, the paid, sold, and corrupt Indian media is not covering that issue. I am going to be planning a detailed video in that regards. If India ever dream of becoming a global financial center for a while, you need the complete scaling of foreign banks. And if foreign banks started quitting one by one, and still you expect to be a global financial center, then I don't think I have any